Hello, this is Addis Fortune bringing you the biggest business stories. Headlines include textile industry threading a tight fabric, irrigation projects falling short as drought disarray take toll, lawmakers scrutinizing data protection bill, honey exports buzzing out of existence, and Ethiopia's labor force echoing global unemployment rise. Leaders of the textile and garment industry are pressing with desperate calls for policy intervention, confronted with a flood of contraband trade, high excise taxes, and dwindling sales. They are pleading for a further reduction of excise taxes to zero, which were lowered from 8 to 5% last year, citing the rising cost of inputs. The Ethiopian Textile and Garment Manufacturers Association warns that failure to respond in time will threaten the survival of several of its 200 members. The leaders blame the proliferation of thrift shops that freely sell contraband items, fearing they undermine their market. These shops are stocked with vast quantities of used clothes smuggled into the country, creating an unfair competition for domestic manufacturers. According to the association's Secretary General, Agazi Gebreyesus, approximately 10,000 second-hand clothes enter the market daily in areas like Taiwan, Ethiopia, and Enken. The influx of contraband goods, mostly second-hand clothing from European and American markets, is attributed to lax customs enforcement. However, Tegegen Dersi, head of inspection at the Customs Commission, denied claims of inadequate inspection procedures, crediting customs officers for preventing contraband shipments. The Commission's efforts, which included confiscating over 9 billion birr worth of contraband clothes last year, tripled the number of total confiscations in 2019. The federal government is undertaking a major reassessment of its water resource management policy and irrigation infrastructure, responding to the escalating threat of droughts. At the center of this strategic shift is the Ministry of Irrigation and Lowlands, overseeing 27 irrigation projects. However, only 17 projects were under construction as of July 2023. The ministry's efforts have been deterred by various constraints, including design reviews, construction delays, and suspending 5 projects due to security concerns. Despite Ethiopia's growing population and the impacts of climate change, several irrigation schemes have fallen short of their objectives. A notable example is the project in southern Gondar, Amhara regional state, where 16 irrigation dams were expected to support the production of wheat, onion, teff, and cabbage for 35,000 farmers over an 11,058 hectares plot. Like many others, the project failed to meet its goals, leaving the farmers without the anticipated benefits. Even the completed projects are not immune to problems. Many are dysfunctional due to construction issues, a problem acknowledged by Bizune Tolcha, the ministry's communications director. While Bizune was keen on promoting the ministry's successes in covering 1.45 million hectares in the past 3 years and its plans for an additional 400,000 hectares this year, he conceded that issues like proper utilization of plots and security concerns are beyond control. Stay tuned, we will be back after the ads. We are back with more highlights. In a landmark development of crafting Ethiopia's first personal data protection proclamation, fierce debates over legal mandates and regulatory oversight sparked at Parliament last week. The legislation, 3 years in the making, was put before the Standing Committee on Human Resource Development, Employment and Technology Affairs, triggering discussions on critical issues such as the regulation authority, data owner empowerment, and the definition of sensitive information. One of the key points of contention revolves around the choice of the regulatory body. Key proposal suggests entrusting the responsibility of regulating and registering data compilers and processors to the Ethiopian Communication Authority. However, lawmakers and stakeholders are pushing for an independent commission that directly reports to the parliament, arguing that such a commission would ensure a more transparent and accountable approach. Reporting directly to the Prime Minister's office, the authority is allocated 25% of its budget from the government treasury. It has made industry insiders question if the intention was financially motivated. The proclamation is poised to shape Ethiopia's approach to data privacy and security, with stakeholders advocating for transparency, accountability, and a robust regulatory framework. As discussions continue on the proposed legislation, the dynamics of responsible regulatory bodies remain to be seen. In a sweet bid to revive the souring honey export sector, the establishment of commercial honey farms, and the enhancement of its byproducts with effective preservation measures was proposed by experts from the Livestock Development Institute. With only 3 exporters remaining, the urgency became apparent, with the failure to meet half of the 15 tons export target in the first quarter of the fiscal year. This alarming trend prompted a 2-month study by the Institute, shedding light on the myriad challenges that have plagued the industry for the last 5 years. Exports had witnessed a dramatic fall throughout the decade from 847 tons in 2013 to 47 tons last year. To chart a course on pricing predicaments and production woes that have put honey export in a downward spiral, representatives from honey farmers to exporters and officials convened in Adama town, Nazareth, Oromia regional state. Central to the cause is a concerning trend where the local price of honey stands at $4 a kilogram, surpassing the export price. Cutthroat global competition is another issue for exporters, while security problems have increased over the past few years, limiting productivity. The Ministry of Agriculture took note of the alarming trends in honey production and exports, drafting a bill to address gaps in quality, marketing, and production. However, the implementation of these measures is yet to take effect. The number of youth not in education, employment, or training has surged to a staggering 62 million people across sub-Saharan Africa, according to a recent report released by the International Labour Organization. The implications of this alarming trend are particularly troubling for countries like Ethiopia, where declining real wages and a significant youth population are a reality. The global labor market, wrestling with a high inflation rate, while the unemployment rate is projected to increase by 2.2 million people in 2024, exacerbating the precarious economy. With a third of the employed labor force in sub-Saharan countries living in extreme poverty, the sharpest of pangs felt by low-income countries registering double-digit inflation rates. The number of workers living in extreme poverty, earning less than $2.15 a day per person, in purchasing power parity terms grew by about 1 million worldwide. For Ethiopia, a country where the extreme working poverty rate was estimated at 18.3% in 2022, and the informality rate has hovered around 86%, labor market imbalances are highly pronounced. Ethiopia's employment rate has averaged around 4% for the past few years. The rest are largely involved in the agriculture sector, where nearly 70% of the jobs are held by young men and about 50% are women. While experts acknowledge the contribution of the informal sector as one of the largest employers providing apprenticeship opportunities rarely found in the large formal sector, they raise concerns about precarious working conditions, especially for women. That's all for today. We'll be back with more updates next week. May good luck and fortune always be with you.